All right, L4A. This is the perimeter and area review for the test. To start out with, we're going to do with metric units of measurement. To start out with, we will put our stairs of units to the right here. And remember, there are 7 steps that we use. Starting at the top, we like to use, or we've used so far, millimeters and gone down to kilometers at the bottom. So millimeters, then centimeters, then decimeters, meters, then we hold 2 spaces and then put kilometers, and I'll do that now. Remember that there are 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter, 10 centimeters in 1 decimeter, 10 decimeters in 1 meter. Now, because there's 2 holding spots before kilometers, there's not 10 meters in a kilometer. There are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. The rule that we go by is if you go down the stairs, the unit gets larger and the number gets smaller. If you go up the stairs, the number gets larger, but the unit gets smaller. So 24 millimeters, the unit gets larger, but the number gets smaller. It becomes 2.4 centimeters. Okay, and yeah, sorry, this was me just showing that 1,000 meters is 1 kilometer. Let me erase that. Okay, so again, now that we've had that review, let's get into the questions. 24 millimeters would equal 2.4 centimeters. And there it is. As you go down the stairs, the place value moves 1 to the left. It's important that you're always moving 1 to the left for every stair you go down. Oppositely, if you go up the stairs, you always move the decimal 1 to the right. Okay, so 15 centimeters becomes 150 millimeters. You have to put a 0 if there isn't one there. So 15, you need to add a 0 to make the number larger, 150. 6.4 meters is 0.064 centimeters. 92.6 decimeters equals 9.26 meters. Now this one, 1,759 millimeters, well, it goes down the stairs 3 stairs to meters. Well, then it moves 3 place values to the left. Okay, if you're unsure with any of these, always use the stairs. Okay, the stairs are a surefire way to make sure that you don't make a mistake. Often on these assessments that I've done so far in the past, people usually end up making 1 or 2 silly mistakes on this part of an assessment because they don't use the stairs or they rush. Okay, 18 millimeters is 0.018 meters. Okay, there are 10 centimeters in 1 decimeter, and 6 decimeters would be the same as 600 millimeters because you go up 2, or you go up 2 steps. All right, choose the most appropriate unit of measurement. Well, the length of your desk at school. When I'm thinking about that, and I know the word appropriate means it can't be something silly. Appropriate is something that you would rationally use. You wouldn't say kilometers, or you wouldn't say meters. So I would probably say centimeters or decimeters because your desk is not that large. The area of the bubble at BVG. Now, a lot of you might make a mistake first and just put meters, but that would be wrong because it says area. Area is always length and width, which is 2 dimensions, which is squared. So you have to put meters squared. Be careful of that for any assessment, okay? The perimeter of the Air Canada Centre. Well, again, I would probably say meters. You might be able to make an argument that it's close to a kilometer. The width of an ice cube, probably centimeters. Again, we have this word area, the area of Canada. Well, Canada is the largest thing that we'd be dealing with. What is our largest unit? Kilometers. And the width of a baby's toe, there's the great debate whether it's a big baby, the big toe. I'd more be inclined, I would probably use millimeters, but if you use centimeters, I think centimeters could be argued to be appropriate too. Remember the word appropriate. Okay, number 17 says calculate the perimeter of each figure. Well, we have these two figures here. Now, these aren't to scale like the ones on your review, but if you were to measure them, you would probably get 4.6 and 2.8 centimeters on the sides. Okay, remember it's a rectangle, so I can use my rectangular equation for perimeter. Perimeter equals length plus width in a bracket times 2. Perimeter equals 4.6 plus 2.8 times 2. Perimeter equals, well, let's just do that up here just so I don't make a silly mistake. 4.6 plus 2.8. 8 plus 6 is 14. I carry the 1. 4 and 2 plus 1 is 7. 7.4 times 2. Again, just to make sure I don't make a silly mistake, I'm going to show my work up here. Make sure when you're doing this on an assessment, these calculations, you show your work, okay? Please put it on and don't erase it. If you do the work, don't erase it, okay? Be proud of your work. 14.8 centimeters when you multiply that together, all right? Here, when measuring, you should have probably got 10 centimeters and 1 centimeter. If you got 9.9 or 10.1, that's fine as well. Or decimal 9 or 1.1. Some people see things differently. Anyways, same equation. Perimeter equals length plus width times 2. Perimeter equals 10 plus 1 times 2. Perimeter equals 11 times 2 because perimeter equals 22 centimeters. All right. The perimeter of this rectangle is 48 centimeters and the width is 4 centimeters. Calculate the length of the rectangle. So this is a bit different. You already have the perimeter of this question. It isn't a perimeter equals length plus width. You're not solving the perimeter. You're solving for the length. We know the width. We know the perimeter, but we do not know the length. So what I do is I always put in the stuff I already know. So 48 equals question mark, I'm not sure, plus 4 centimeters times 2. Okay, but when you do this, you have to, when you're solving for the length or a width, you have to flip the question, which means that you do the exact opposite. So instead of adding and multiplying, you're going to divide and subtract. So perimeter divided by 2, subtract, in this case, the width. Now, if we were solving for the width, you would subtract the length. But it's the width that we have, so that's what you subtract. So length equals perimeter divided by 2, subtract the width. So length equals 48 divided by 2, subtract 4. Now I'm going to keep it in a bracket, even though I don't necessarily need to here. 48 divided by 2, well, just in case I don't know that in my head, I'm going to show the work here. And if you need a scrap piece of paper for an assessment, please use one. 2 times 2 is 4. Subtract, bring down, bring the 8 down. 2 goes into 8 4 times. Okay. 48 divided by 2 equals 24. 24 subtract 4. Well, I know that that is 20. The length then is 20 centimeters. Okay, there it is right there. Okay. Number 9 reads, the length of a rectangle is 6 centimeters. The area of the rectangle is 42 centimeters squared. What is the width of this rectangle? Again, this is similar to the question we just did. We are solving for the width. We already have the area, so it's not area equals length times width. It is a little bit different. Width equals area divided by length. Okay, so again, when you're solving for the width or the length, you do kind of the opposite of the equation if you were just solving for the area, because in an area equation, you multiply the two numbers. In an equation where you're looking for the length or the width, you end up dividing. So again, I'm going to plug my numbers in first to show what I know. 42 centimeters squared equals 6 times blank, question mark, what is the width? Let's solve for the width now. Width equals 42, because you do the opposite like I said, 42 divided by 6. Now, this is a fact family. And I know in my multiplication that 6 times 7 equals 42 because I've been doing my rocket math diligently, or I've passed my rocket math. And therefore, 6 goes into 42 7 times. The width equals 7. So even though this isn't represented to scale, that side would be 7 centimeters. Okay? And that would be enough to get full marks on that question. I need to cover my rectangular backyard with grass seed. What is the area? Notice the word area is bolded. Okay, I underline that because I know that I'm dealing with area. The cut that I need to cover of the length is 27 meters and the width is 9 meters. Okay, so it's telling me the two dimensions. I see the word that it's rectangular, and I've kind of circled that. And then I punch it in. The width, 9 centimeters. The length, 27 centimeters. Now, it's not, or sorry, meters. It's not necessarily to scale, but okay, it's a good representation. If you did that, that would be fine. I put the equation I'm going to use. Area equals length times width. Area equals 27 times 9. Area equals, well, I don't know this off the top of my head, so I'm going to do this to the side. Again, show your work. 9 times 7 is 63. 3 at the bottom, carry the 6. 9 times 2 is 18, plus the 6, which would equal 24. The area of my backyard that I need to seed with grass is 243 meters squared. Now, for this is a word problem, so you would have to write a sentence. A sentence would be something like, I would need to get enough grass seed to cover 243 meters squared, period. That would be a fine sentence. Please avoid words like it or that instead of the noun grass seed. Be specific. Okay, 21. I would like to make a wooden frame for a picture of my family. How many centimeters? So I would probably circle centimeters because it's telling me the measurement that we're going to be dealing with. And frame. Frame is on the outside. So as soon as I hear a word like frame, I'm thinking this is a perimeter question. How many centimeters of wood would I need to buy if my picture is 6 centimeters long and 8 centimeters wide? Okay, so I have the dimensions of my picture. I know that pictures are usually rectangles, so I'm going to draw a rectangle and represent this as a rectangle with a 2-to-1 ratio because it's twice as long in length as it is wide. 16 centimeters and 8 centimeters. Again, it is the perimeter because it's framed, so I'm going to do a perimeter equation. P equals length plus width times 2, sorry. Perimeter, so not length times width. Perimeter equals length plus width times 2. Perimeter equals 16 plus 8 times 2. Perimeter equals 24 times 2. Perimeter equals 48 centimeters. So all the way around the frame, to make a wooden frame, I would need 48 centimeters of wood. Okay. Again, a sentence would be something like, I would need 48 centimeters of wood to make a frame around my picture. All right, question 22. First I'm going to do is read it. Kenny ran 3 laps around the rectangular park. Well, there's 2 important pieces. 3 laps around and then rectangular. I know it's a rectangle. Park that is 187 meters long and 35 meters wide. So I'm going to try and make it very long, and again, it's not to scale, I apologize, and 35 meters wide. How far did he run? Well, around, I see this word around, I know that around is perimeter. Again, so I only have to put in 2 sides, the 35 meters and the 187 meters. Perimeter equals length plus width times 2. And so these numbers are a little larger. 187 plus 35 times 2. I'm going to do this to the side because I don't know that off the top of my head. I'm going to make sure I line up my numbers properly in the right place value column. 187 plus 35. 7 plus 5 is 12. Carry the 1. That is also 12. Carry the 1. 222. So it is 222 meters around the field. Now, that would just be once around the field. But Kenny ran 3 laps, so you have to do 222 meters multiplied by 3, right? So now I do 222 times 3, and this is, although it is a big question, it's fairly simple because 2 times 3 is 6. So 222 times 3 is 666. So for a sentence, you would write, Kenny ran 666 meters around the track when he ran for 3 laps. Period. Okay, Mary has a square room. Okay, each wall of the room is 14 meters long. How much carpet will she need to buy to cover the floor of her room? Square room, circle square. Square has a specific properties. Each side is the same length. So if one side is 14 meters, then all sides must be 14 meters long. Okay, it's a fairly big room Mary has. Okay, so a square is a special kind of rectangle. You can use the same equation for rectangles as you can for squares. So area equals length times width. Area equals 14 times 14. And once I figure that out, okay, I can do the room. I know it's area because it's cover the floor in a room. The floor is on the inside, it's not around. So that tells me that it is an area question. Okay? And cover, yeah, so the word cover helps me. Area equals 14 times 14. Four times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. Put a 0 there because now I'm multiplying in the tenths column. 1 times 4 is 4. And 1 times 1 is 1. Now I add that up. Make sure my numbers are lined up. 196. So the area of Mary's room is 196 meters squared. And moving forward, draw a rectangle with a perimeter of 12 centimeters. Okay, well, this again is a reverse question. I know the perimeter, but I don't know what the length and widths are. And there's not just one right answer for a question like this. Again, because you already have the perimeter, you do the opposite. Instead of length plus width times 2, you do 12 divided by 2 equals length plus width. So 12 divided by 2, well, that's going to end up equaling 6. But first, let's put this out, put all our information. Perimeter equals length plus width. 12 centimeters equals, 12 centimeters divided by 2 equals 6. So 6 centimeters equals the length plus width. Right? So how do I figure that out? Well, what two numbers? This is a rectangle. It doesn't say square, so it's not going to be 3 plus 3. 20. So what two numbers equal 6? 1 plus 5 equals 6. Also 2 plus 4. And sorry, I can represent this as 1 centimeter in width and 5 centimeters in length. Or you can do the opposite and do 5 centimeters in width and 1 centimeter in length. And again, two other numbers that equal 6 that come to mind immediately are 2 plus 4. So I can do 2 and 4. So 2 length, 4 width, or 4 length and 2 width. Both work. So 2 centimeters on the width here, 4 centimeters length, and then you can do the reverse. Okay, so 4 centimeters for the width and 2 for the length. And so either of those triangles, any of those 4 triangles that were drawn are okay for that question. Number 25 says draw a square with an area of 16 centimeters squared. Okay, 16 centimeters squared. Okay, let me just pull this up. Okay, what do I know about a square? Well, all sides are the same. This is a poor representation of a square, but I tried to make it so that all sides are the same. Well, so the area equals length times width. I need two numbers then that are the exact same that will equal 16. I'm going to have to go to my Rocket Math, what two numbers that I've been studying that I know equals 16, well, that are the exact same. Okay, I know that 2 times 8 equals 16, but that doesn't work because those aren't the exact same. I need two numbers that are the exact same. Well, what are they? Well, they are 4. 4 times 4 equals 16. So the side length of each of this square, each side of the square are 4 centimeters. 4 centimeters by 4 centimeters. If you were to plug that in just to make sure, area equals length times width, 4 times 4 equals 16. Yes, area equals 16 centimeters squared. Okay, number 20. Find the perimeter and area of these shapes. Although this question shouldn't be 20, I realize that. Assume each side of each square is 1 centimeter long. Okay, so for these, finding the perimeter of an irregular shape, you just count. Make sure you do not count just one dash for the corners. Make sure you do 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I always have students make a mistake on these parts right here where there's 2 right beside each other. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So although this says units, it should say centimeters. It should be 14. Perimeter equals 14 centimeters. For the second one, it is area, count the inside. Area equals 7 units or centimeters squared. Okay, and you do the exact same for the second question here. Count the outsides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So the perimeter is 18 centimeters or 18 units is what I've written here. And the area then is the inside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 units squared. And notice how they are actual squares. So it's 2 dimensions, length and width. So that's why you put the 2 again. 21, the question reads, Larry is 1.32 meters tall, Lucy is 129 centimeters tall, and Bart is 13.9 decimeters tall. Who is the shortest, and how much shorter is he or she than the tallest person? Well, you're dealing with 3 different types of measurements. You're dealing with meters, centimeters, and decimeters. To plan out, I would highlight these and make sure that you know what exactly you're dealing with. To find out who is the tallest, you have to put them all in the same measurement. I'm going to choose centimeters because if I use centimeters, I won't have any decimal marks, and it's cleaner for me to subtract without decimals. So I'm going to make them all centimeters. Before I do that, I'm going to create 3 different sets of stairs, one for Larry, one for Lucy, and one for Bart. But because I'm not dealing with kilometers, I will not need to use 7 stairs. I'm going to only use 4. And so I put the millimeters, centimeters, decimeters, and meters down. And Larry is 1.32 meters. And actually, because I'm not going to be using millimeters, I'm going to take that off. So I only need 3 stairs. So, Larry is 1.32 meters. He is 13.2 decimeters. And then 1.32, 1.32. He is 132 centimeters. I'll correct that in a second. Lucy is 129 centimeters tall. Okay, and Bart is 13.9 decimeters. Let me just put centimeters, decimeters, and millimeters here. It's 13.9 decimeters, which is 139 centimeters. Now, if I'm going to compare them, let me just correct this Larry's here for a second. Okay, and that should be 132 centimeters. Okay, comparing them, I now know that Bart is the tallest at 139 centimeters, and I know that Lucy is the shortest at 129 centimeters. Okay, so who is the shortest? The sentence would be Lucy is the shortest, and she is 129 centimeters tall. How much shorter is he or she than the tallest person? Well, Lucy is 10 centimeters shorter than Bart. I know this because I take Bart's height and I subtract Lucy's from it. So 139, subtract 129, and I get 10 centimeters. A sentence for that part would be Lucy is 10 centimeters shorter than the tallest person, Bart. And moving on to question 22, the final question. Again, I know that it isn't actually 22, it should be something different, but anyways, explain how you could use a string to measure the circumference of a pop can. Well, a string can be straight and it also can be bent around, so it is very dynamic that way. So I can take a string and wrap it around the pop can, and where the start of the string and where the string intersects, I would mark that point. And then I would lay out the string straight in a straight line, and I would hold it beside a ruler. Okay, and beside a ruler, that string would then be, okay, I'm going to make this ruler a little longer. Say that's a 12 centimeter ruler. This mark on the string ends up being at 11.5 centimeters. And so that's how I could find out the circumference. Now remember, circumference is similar to perimeter. It is the perimeter around a sphere or a circular object. Okay, and that's how you would do that. Okay, that is the review. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me or email me. Have a good evening and good luck with the assessment. Okay, bye-bye.